Hello and welcome to the Hot Dog and a Handshake Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Jayden Ginsweider. Joining me is my co-host, former DDT Ironman Heavy Metalweight Champion, Shane Price. Shane, how you doing this week?
Pretty good.
All right, for this week's Collar and Elbow, we technical difficulties, lost our episode last week, but what we did last week that we'll never be able to air was we put together our perfect wrestling cards for us. Because technically last week was the anniversary of restarting this podcast, and it wouldn't be going back to the beginning of Hot Dog and a Handshake. It wouldn't be an anniversary without a little bit of technical difficulty. Going back even to the KJ days.
the ghost of Iron Sheik, Batman, and Abraham Lincoln
Bundy, yeah,
killed the pod.
Yep, it was just too much. It was too much to handle. So to make it up, we're going to build our perfect wrestlers. So this is not who you think, not trying to make the greatest wrestler of all time, but the perfect Shane Core, Jayden Core wrestlers. I have here 8 categories. We'll go through them one-on-one. First, the body. What size is your wrestler?
Bull Nakano.
Bull Nakano?
Comparing to like Bull Nakano faced.
Great. I went AJ Styles. Small enough to do super athletic stuff, but still bulky enough. I'm thinking like 2016, 2017 AJ, like still bulky enough to look, like fit in with bigger people too. Like look like a real wrestler against Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean?
No, not like a small dude, but like
like a mid-size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whose athleticism would you put in this Bull Nakano body?
Ooh. There's a lot of choices here.
Mm-hmm.
Easily the funniest to be any luchador.
Yeah.
Fucking give me Kendo.
Kendo?
Dude, Kendo does the I've never seen anybody else do the kip-ups.
Repeated kip-ups like that?
That takes a lot of core strength.
It does. I went with Will Ospreay. So AJ's body with Will Ospreay's athleticism. I think it's awesome. Who's mental? So this is like, psychology, knowing the business, knowledge of moves and stuff. Like whose brain, like
Ooh.
whose mind.
This is a tough one
Mm-hmm.
because it could go Randy. That's a great pick.
That's a great pick.
I'm gonna go Randy. Yeah,
Randy, I went with Bret Hart.
it's a great pick.
Yeah, I love his psychology and just the way. We'll talk about it in an upcoming classic review, but I love Bret Hart. Mat skills. So the technical work.
There's a long
The technical style.
I can throw out here.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're gonna go CSJ.
Yeah, it was between ZSJ and Danielson. It was a really close argument for me, but I went Zach.
I'm gonna go with Domingo Takada.
Okay. Whose aerial skills? So we have the athleticism, but whose ability? Because you can be a great athlete and not have great aerial ability. So whose aerial skills are you taking? Whose catalog of moves from the top rope?
RVD only think of one move.
That's what I was thinking.
Scorpio only think of the one move.
Mm-hmm. Because, obviously my mind as a Ray fan goes immediately to Ray, but as you think about it, he doesn't do a lot of top rope moves.
Yeah.
His aerial stuff has always been fun springboards and Hurricane Ranas, and he only has, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess springboards would count in aerial, but, he's quicker in ring than he is,
Are we counting Suicide Dives in the aerial?
Yeah, I'd count Suicide Dives in the aerial.
Hayabusa. Yeah.
It's a good one. I'm with Ricochet.
Yeah,
He's got a great catalog of stuff. Brawling skills. So this is, just I kind of would include pretty much anything that's not on the mat or in the air kind of is in this. So maybe brawling around the ring, maybe hardcore ability, just kind of all combined into one here. Kind of hand-to-hand. Who are you going to go with for that?
I wish kicks were a separate category here.
You want me to make kicks a separate category?
Yeah.
A new category? All right, I can do that.
Let's go for brawling. I want to go Terry Funk.
Okay, that's a great one.
He's got the hardcore, he's got the brawls.
Kind of actually in the same vein, I went with John Moxley.
Yeah. It was between him and Funk.
Yeah. Whose kicks do you want?
Kawada.
Kawada? I figured.
Kawada, Yuya Masha's good kicks.
Yeah. Whose kicks do I like? I know I've thought about this before, but now that I'm on this spot, I'm just forgetting every wrestler.
Funori Abe has some good kicks. They're mean. They sound hard.
Yeah, Danielson's
got some good
Danielson's
kicks.
great kicks.
Punk's got good kicks.
Punk does.
AJ's got some pretty good kicks.
I know. I mean, I didn't make it a rule, but for mine, I'm trying to do a different person.
Yeah.
For each one, so I don't want to reuse AJ. Oh, you know what I'm gonna go with? I'm gonna go with Aleister Black.
Oh, okay. I like that. The Black Mass in there?
Black Mass in there. He's got some other great kicks in his arsenal too. Go with Aleister Black. All right, next up, we're out of the ring. Mic ability. For me, there was only really one option here.
Yeah. Phil Brooks, CM Punk.
Yeah, that was mine too. Yep, CM Punk, for sure. Charisma. This is my last category, and then if you have others you want to add, we can do that after.
Okay, yeah.
But charisma.
Monty Brown.
Dude
just like always had that star power.
Yeah, I went with specifically Surfer Sting. Just that ultimate good guy gets the crowd on his side kind of charisma. That's kind of what I wanted to go for.
Crow Sting has a different kind of charisma.
What? Crow Sting is a different. Yeah, it's more of a more mysterious, broody kind of charisma. I wanted that pop to him. You know what I mean?
Whereas Monty Brown is just like a dude. He walks in the building.
Mm-hmm.
You know he's a top guy.
Yeah. Do you have any other categories you'd want to add?
Not really technical. What about grappling?
Grappling? I did think about having suplexes as its own category. Do you want to do suplexes as a category?
Suplexes.
Who's got a good arsenal of suplexes?
This isn't my pick.
I mean,
this is recently biased for me. Hiroshi Hase did some crazy suplex, dropped Quad on his head, and Quad did like a Ric Flair bump.
Yeah, my mind immediately goes to Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Lesnar. I'm not gonna put him on there because of other reasons.
Yeah.
But like he does have a great suplex catalog or arsenal or whatever. I like Angle a lot.
Jun Akiyama is a really good explosive suplex in Northern Lights. So
Yeah.
like those ones, you got to go with him.
Yeah, as I'm thinking about it, I think I am gonna go Kurt Angle for suplexes.
I am a sucker for a nice Northern Lights, so I'm gonna go Akiyama.
Akiyama. Anything else you can think of?
I'm sure there's some, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Think of it off the top of your head? I mean, that's a good. That got us to 10 categories. That's
that's not bad.
good set of stuff. You want to get to outside the ring news?
I believe so.
Not a lot outside the ring this week. First off, in AEW, they've moved All Out to Canada as our resident Chicagans. How are you feeling about this?
Quite disappointed that we're only getting 9 shows and not 12.
Yeah.
Is the residency might be it for the year for Chicago, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, they were just in Chicago for Beach Break.
Yeah. We'll probably also do the residency. They might do Full Gear Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. We'll see.
I mean, it's interesting because this year is the end of an era for AEW. Double or Nothing moving out of Vegas, All Out moving out of Chicago. I think they finally realized what we've kind of been saying for years, and that's that these crowds have been over. I mean, they've been overfed with wrestling, right? And you can't just keep taking the same pay-per-view back to the same crowd like that. Outside of Sturgis, North Dakota, I think you could do that forever. But I like this. I think Toronto was great when they had Forbidden Door. I think Canada's just always hot crowds, so I like that. And it's kind of refreshing. And I'd like to see All Out move around. I just think it's probably better for AEW.
I'm gonna miss it. However, I'm expecting the other pay-per-view to be in Chicago this year.
Oh yeah, they'll put pay-per-views back in Chicago.
Yeah, but
like it's not
maybe. I feel like Full Gear is a great time to put
Full
it
Gear,
in Chicago.
or honestly, I think you could probably wait on this year and maybe next year put like Revolution in Chicago or something. You know what I mean? The other kind of big piece of AEW news: Darby Allin made it to the top of Mount Everest. And he flew the AEW flag, which is cool. That's awesome. Nobody would ever do that for WWE, which is insane. Not to make this tribalistic. It's just like What other company, or New Japan or TNA, like what other company has a guy who would fly their flag on Mount Everest?
Well, nobody's stupid enough to climb Mount Everest. They're a professional wrestler than Darby Allin, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, we've talked about this many times before. Nobody cares less about their own health in professional wrestling than Darby Allin.
Yes, that's true.
Maybe Dragunov would climb Mount Everest and fly the WWE
He'd
flag.
do it solo too. He's like,
Yeah. He'd do it shirtless.
he'd do it in gear.
Yeah, he'd do it in his gear. Just climbing Mount Everest, dude. It's just awesome. It's awesome that any pro wrestling company's flag is at the top of that mountain. It's awesome for me because AEW is like my favorite promotion. Now he's made it to the peak of the world. Do you think he makes it to the peak of AEW?
No.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, first let me finish. Like, open-ended, not this year necessarily. Do you think he makes it to the peak of AEW and becomes world champion someday?
I don't want him to.
You don't want him to. Well,
No.
you've never really been a fan of him to begin with, right?
I mean, I like him, but he's just like he's not a guy I get behind in a way. He does crazy bumps, and then doesn't really follow up anything.
I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of my Darby Allin love was carried by my Sting love.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Sting guy.
Not
I'm one of the biggest little stingers out there.
You're a large singer at this point.
Yeah. So that as we've gotten further away from Sting being around, my Darby Allin love has dropped a little bit. I think it was kind of, I don't want to say immature, but it felt like the wrong move to do this right as you were lined up for a push.
Yeah.
Like this just doesn't, that doesn't fly for me.
Also knew that he was going to do this.
That he was planning on doing this.
Because he had to train for a while too. So
That's
he
true.
knew, and he was getting the push. It would line up with it. So it's kind of also TK's fault.
Yeah, maybe TK thought that Absence Makes the Heart Grow Fonder would work here. Maybe it will. Maybe he comes back at All In or whatever, and he gets a huge pop, and he does something cool.
Get a huge pop, yeah.
And we're all back into it.
He'll get a huge pop. He'll do something crazy, and I mean, I would cheer for him in All In, obviously. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out. It just feels like I think he will be AEW champion someday. I just don't think that right now is the time. And we'll get to that when we do Double or Nothing predictions, but I really like the two guys they have set up to face Moxley to be the next world champion. So we'll get there. Other news, a GoFundMe has been launched to help Sabu's family pay for his funeral expenses.
It hit the goal.
It hit the goal already?
It did.
Okay. Well, I was going to, share. I mean, is it still open?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still open. I want to say 50K.
Okay, I will put the link in the description for this episode, so you guys can just scroll down on YouTube, find the link there. Do you want to air out your problems with this, or do you think enough people have already put that out there?
Problems? Oh yeah, I will. Okay.
I mean, because I agree with you. You're just you seem much more passionate about.
First of all, this should not be happening. It should not. Sabu should not have even wrestled GCW because she had the money. Because he could have went to the WCW 2000 if Mr. Heyman didn't didn't put a stop to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part one.
Yeah.
Part two is that his work in Japan is forever, the money that he should be getting from like royalties is stuck in the pockets of WWE because they probably control Gorilla Monsoon's money. Gorilla Monsoon probably controlled his adopted son's money after he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So you tell me.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, just one of those guys that as soon as he passed away, his family should have been offered a Legends contract from WWE. Because, for one, he wrestled there quite popularly, right? I mean, in those early reboot of ECW days.
He literally faced John Cena more than once.
Yeah. And then for two, he inspired 3/4 of your roster at least. You know what I mean? So, like,
you had a
you make all this money.
pay-per-view called Tables, Ladders, and Chairs Because of Sabu.
Because of Sabu. And you make all of this money off of, selling your media library to Peacock, right? And one of the 3 most major companies in that is ECW, which was built on the back of Sabu, among others. But, he was in there. So WWE should be paying for this. His family should have a Legends deal. I should be able to buy a Sabu shirt on WWE Shop if it wasn't $60 for some reason because of TKO. That's a whole nother problem. But
Paul Heyman should put the bill for this still.
Yeah.
I think he should. I really think he should.
Yep.
He owes the money. He owed the money to the end. He never paid him.
He owes everybody from ECW money, including who we're going to talk about next. Revolver will be running the Jerry Lynn Invitational Tournament in August. Jerry Lynn will be the special referee of the finals.
Do you want to go? Do you want to drive to Iowa to see Jerry Lynn, brother?
I wonder where I didn't see where exactly.
Revolver usually runs out of like Des Moines.
Yeah. It's August 9th. Who are some indie guys that you think most represent the Jerry Lynn spirit that you'd like to see in this tournament?
I would say Tyler Black if he was an indie guy still.
Mm-hmm.
It's those guys who are like technicians but can still kind of.
This will be in Dayton, Ohio.
What? Oh, you know what? Jerry Lynn moment. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Myron Reed always booked to these. I think he'll be in there.
RVD should be in it. Yeah, I mean he is an AEW producer. So is there anybody from AEW that you would maybe want to see in the Jerry Lynn Invitational? Lee Moriarty would be cool.
Lee would be cool. Yuta, if he cut his hair so you could see his eyes again.
Yeah. Some of those guys, yeah. I don't know who he's necessarily had a great relationship with in AEW, like young guy wise, but somebody like that being in there. I think RVD being in there would be fun. I don't think he should win, but like first or second round exit would be fun. So we'll see. You want to talk Best of Super Juniors?
Yes, I do.
All right. So, first off, we'll start with standings, just to let people know where we are at with the tournament. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with these New Japan tournaments, a win gets you 2 points, a tie gets you 1 point, a loss gets you 0 points. It's in 2 blocks. You face everybody in your block in a round robin, and then the winners or top 2 move on depending on the tournament. In the A block, insanely close here. Master Watto has 8 points. This is counting the from this morning, which we haven't watched yet because of
I did.
Times. Oh, you watched last night? Okay, I didn't watch this morning's match for Clark Connors. So Master Watto has 8 points. Ninja Mac has 4. Everybody else in this block has 6.
What the fuck, Ninja Mac?
Fujita, Dragon Dia, Robbie X, Kushida, Francesco Akira, Clark Connors, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Hiromu Takahashi all have 6.
Kanemaru is 6?
Kanemaru has 6.
No, we're bringing it back 20 years ago. Let's go.
So A block, insanely close. Everybody's wrestled 6 matches.
A block is,
so everybody has 3 more matches.
Watto's going to slip, and somebody's going to pounce.
I feel like Kushida, Fujita would be the 2 that I think could pounce.
I think Fujita might get that block, yeah.
You think Fujita might get the block?
Yeah.
Maybe. Over in a little bit more normal, over in the B block, Nick Wayne, 8 points on top. Taguchi, Titan, and El Desperado all have 6, and then the rest.
She's going crazy.
The rest of the field have 4. The B block has only wrestled 5 matches each. So the rest of the field being Mao, Robbie Eagle, Sho, Yo, Taiji Ishimori, and Kevin Knight all have 4. Do you think Nick Wayne holds on and makes the finals here?
I don't think so.
We haven't seen them push an AEW guy to the finals of something like this yet. So he could do it. In wrestling, it's always think about what have we not seen yet, because that's what the companies are trying to surprise you, right? But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's Titan El Desperado.
I think it should be Titan. I think Titan and Fujita is a good match.
Titan, or Titan Kushida. I like those.
Yeah.
I like those a lot. I don't know. Maybe somebody else will pop out of the ashes here. Like I said, 4 matches left for everybody in the B block. On to our guys. I'll start with Clark Connors here. Had 4 matches this week, starting with Kanemaru. I should have had my notes already pulled up here. So Kanemaru, a count-out loss here, which was just a terrible count-out loss. Shouldn't. Clark Connors is taking the matches outside of the ring way more than I think he should, and I understand that's more of his domain, right? But it's costing him in these matches, and especially against a master of chaos from the House of Torture. You just can't take that outside the ring. He lost because as he grabbed Kanemaru's boot, it came off, and Kanemaru got in the ring before the 20 count. So just a terrible count-out loss. Shouldn't have happened, right? Next up, we got Dragon Dia. This is a good place to get back that win. I mean, Dragon Dia, good wrestler, just a place where I think Connors could have got back the win, right? My first note here is this is why you don't involve the fucking wheel, because he keeps bringing out a wheel. There's a spare tire of some sort. He keeps getting involved in these matches, and it backfired on him in the Dragon Dia match. And that's where the momentum shifted, and Dragon Dia ended up winning the match. It took a little bit while after that, but he did. And my note is just, this is fucking embarrassing. Not that he's losing to Dragon Dia, the way that he lost, the way he cost himself this match, and the way he lost to Kanemaru back to back. Just, man. And so when we do this, I always talk about how we watch these and we root for these guys as if they are like sports teams that we're rooting for, right? And I want you guys to know, anybody listening, to know that is real. Because a text that I sent to Shane this week, and I quote, "Dude, Clark Connors is pissing me off." Which is something I would say if CeeDee Lamb dropped 3 passes in a row or something. You know what I mean? I'm seriously rooting for Clark Connors, and he is pissing me off. Because the next match is against Robbie X. And my first note is in all caps, quit with the fucking wheel. Because it backfired again. He ended up beating Robbie X in in the end a solid win. But God, dude, the wheel is getting in your way, man.
It's time to reinvent the wheel, brother. Come on.
It is time to reinvent the wheel. And then the last match here was against Hiromu. At one point, instead of focusing on his opponent, he starts a fan in the crowd has one of those Hiromu dolls, the little cat thing. What's its name?
The red one. I forgot.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. And then I wrote, "You should know Red Shoes won't stand for the tire shit." Because Red Shoes literally he literally didn't stand for it. He sat on the wheel, so Clark Connors couldn't use it.
He's just helping him out.
Yeah, this was a tough loss in the end, but it was kind of expected. It's Hiromu. But really, I did not go into this week expecting 1-3. I expected more 2-2 or 3-1. I don't know. We got Kushida today. I haven't watched that match. That match has technically already happened. But I'll give my notes next week. And then Ninja Mac on Saturday and Francesco Akira on Sunday. So we're getting in with a lot of the flyers.
Ninja Mac's gonna do some crazy flips, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really disappointed in Clark Connors in this run. I really thought we had momentum going into this with all of the War Dog stuff that has been happening, and it just, I don't know, poor performance. Mao this week. You want to start with Taiji Ishimori?
I would love to if my dad didn't just die on me. First of all, kind of surprising result. I did not expect the scene to go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Mao wins.
That is crazy.
So very square.
Mm-hmm.
But a shocking win. Taiji, the long-standing, wrestling for most of his life, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's higher up. He's a New Japan guy.
I mean, he's been one of the top juniors for the whole time I've been watching.
Yeah,
it's been 6 years now.
Yeah, so he's been the top guy for a long time. And Mao comes in, looking square as hell tonight, and wins.
It's square season.
He's bringing again. Like I said last week, it didn't get aired. He's bringing it back to him to be square.
Yep.
Huey Lewis should owe him money.
Yep. And then you had Titan in the main event that show.
I was a big fan of this being the main event. However, I am not a big fan of how it went for Mao. Not getting the win. I know it's Teton, so I know it'll be tough, and I know it is a lot better than my pick last year of Dragon Dia, who had 0 points for most of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not how I wanted to go. You know, looking a little concerning here. Teton, I wanted to get a nice win. Couldn't get it. Teton in a nice match. Only 10 minutes, though. I'll give credit where credit's due. Teton, great worker.
Mm-hmm.
But disappointing.
Yep. And then you had El Desperado on Saturday.
Not this surprisingly lost here. Long match though, almost 25 minutes. It was a great match. Again, credit's due. Despy, the champion. So, not surprised, but disappointing. Disappointing week for Mao. Hopefully, we're gonna have some come up here. It's in the hunt. You know, if 4 matches left to go, Nick wins at 8, 6, 4. It's not the end of the world.
Yep. And then you had Yo on Sunday.
Well, Yo was also another loss, believe it or not. So I went 0-3 this week. Not great at all.
1-3. Because Taiji.
Yeah, 1-3. Great that we beat Taiji, but we needed to beat somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Taguchi. Maybe beat Taguchi.
You got Taguchi on Thursday. Then you have Robbie Eagles on Saturday, Nick Wayne on Sunday. Nick Wayne's on a tear. Those other two I feel like Mao could win. Robbie is going to be tough, but it's going to be interesting. I do love that when we first did this for last year's G1, so this will kind of complete a year of doing this, and we went bonkers the first time and picked the 2 finalists, and then we've just been dog shit since. Like, we've just been terrible.
Well, the best decisions we always would pick like the guests, as I would pick the guests. And last year, Dragon Dia got no points.
Last year, I think we just followed Best of Super Juniors as like for fun, just
Yeah,
following it.
we
We didn't do this
You
until
didn't
G1.
pick.
Yeah,
But, like we picked like who we wanted to root for, and I picked Dragon Dia to get no points.
Yeah. But then, we just had like this super success with Yoda Tsuji and Zack Sabre Jr. last year, and then we've just been bad at this since.
Yeah, well, it sucks.
So moving on to quick hits, I want to ask you first, when did you start watching NXT? About what year do you think?
2015.
2015? Okay. Tom Hannafan, credit to Fightful for these 2 headlines I have here. Tom Hannafan, especially now, TNA feels a lot like 2014 to 2016 era of NXT.
No.
That's your reaction? That's all I needed?
I mean, in one way, yes. The women's division is better than the men's division. Yes, I'll give you that. But no.
Yeah. And he's calling it.
Yeah, he's the one that's commentating it. So
Yeah.
No.
John Cena signs the original "If Cena wins, we riot" sign.
That's pretty nice.
Coolest thing he could do on his retirement tour, probably.
Yeah. Now that he's a heel, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, except for Run It with Tanahashi.
Yes.
All right, on to TV of the week. I'll start with Dynamite here, as we always do. You want to talk about Hangman and Ospreay versus Takeshita and Josh Alexander? For one, great match, right? I loved Hangman almost buckshotting Ospreay. And then Ospreay almost hidden blading a Hangman in stopping literally an inch in front of his face. Perfect, dude. I've seen some people complaining about it being kind of cheesy. I loved it. I'm here for it.
It was a little too long.
It was. I will give you that. It was like 5 seconds too long.
If they came in and just like ended it immediately, like 1 second after.
I liked a little bit of a stare down.
Yeah, a little bit stare down, but
the stare down lasted too long.
But if it was like 3 seconds long, it would have been perfect.
But it was still awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome though. Don't get me wrong.
And just a great match. Takeshita, Joshua Alexander both did a great job. I like Takeshita and Alexander as a tag team. And that's something I've noticed a lot recently. There's a lot of great tag teams. Like AEW legitimately has the best tag division. Why are these the tag title matches we've been getting? Why is it Hurt Syndicate against the Outrunners or against the Sons of Texas?
The Young Bucks.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they need another set of tag titles.
No, that wouldn't help.
That would help. Maybe they need a tag C2.
Yeah, that would help.
That would be awesome.
That would help.
And the Gates of Agony should win.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes, they should.
And then MJF makes it into the Hurt Syndicate, officially the Owen Hart to the Hurt Syndicate's Nation of Domination.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Yeah, a lot. Hey, I mean, this time of year, Tony Khan just really gets into that Owen Hart spirit, and I think that's why he did this. What do you think of him finally making it in?
Is he gonna bring Leslie Nielsen in now?
Yes.
Famously dead, passed away. Rest in peace. I don't like this storyline. I'll be honest. I don't like it.
It's been fun.
It's been fun, yeah, but it's not what the Hurt Syndicate should be doing. They should be hurting people.
I did love Shelton Benjamin was ready to ride with Lashley. Like if Lashley gave him the thumbs down.
Yeah, he was ready to kick MJF's head.
In. Yeah, he was gonna kick MJF's head back to Long Island, dude. Like
he was ready.
Yeah. I did like that. I complained last week about the 4-way women's eliminators. This week, what should happen in one of those actually happened. Mina Shirakawa won, which means I know you wanted Azumi, but what I meant is that like one of the challengers won. You know what I mean? So I would be happy about it if it was Azumi or Sky Blue also. I mean, I'm more happy because it's Mina and she's like my girl, but really funny that they changed her theme song mid-show. They changed it, and then they changed it back.
I don't know what the hell that first theme was.
Yeah, it was very
Jesus
Yokozuna.
Christ.
I was getting.
It was
giving Yokozuna.
Could you imagine Mina dancing the Yokozunas?
Yeah. Then they changed her theme, but I do like Mina Tony at rematch at Double or Nothing.
I don't like how they're just not mentioning Mariah May by name. I
think that's because she's gonna show up.
Okay.
I think they don't want to put her in our minds because they want it to be more of a surprise.
Personally, not mentioning her, but not mentioning her.
You see those two, you immediately think of the third person from that throuple.
Yeah. The throuple started as a goddamn couple. Yeah. It was Mariah May and Mina first.
It kind of started as two separate couples. It started as Mariah and Mina, and then Mariah and Tony, and then Mariah just brought the group together.
Mariah was with, you know what? I need like a whiteboard or something. Mariah was first with Mina and started
like Charlie in the mailroom, and It's Always Sunny, but just like a bunch of pictures of Stardom women and stuff.
It's all in a chest to Starlight Kid.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Starlight Kid?
Yeah, I've always said that Starlight Kid is Stardom's Pepe Silvio or whatever.
It was Mina and Mariah for first, and they were. It was like a year before Tony saw Mariah. Mm-hmm. Mariah jumps to AEW, and all of a sudden Mariah continues her lesbian ways with Tony Storm. Mm-hmm. And of course, Mina comes in because she's stricken. Her lover has jumped her. Mm-hmm. And everybody's happy. Now they're a couple.
Yeah. And
then Mariah has to break it up because she's an asshole.
I love that you're explaining this like it's like a love triangle storyline from a show like Grey's Anatomy or something. Like the way.
And when Mina went into surgery.
Yeah. But it's wrestling.
I mean, is that not what it is?
That's what it's all about. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm super excited for the match. The match.
Oh, that match is great.
And then last thing, Mox and Joe in the steel cage. Mox bleeding for what feels like the first time in a while, at least on TV. He's probably done it.
That
in pay-per-view.
Is the feeling restored.
Yeah.
The last time he went on TV was when he had the spikes in him.
When he had the spikes in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't really avoid bleeding.
Can't avoid that. Yeah. But this was a great cage match. Also.
Great cage match, kind of stuck again.
I didn't think about it until they said it. This was the first world title cage match in AEW history.
Really?
World heavyweight title.
Why what is taking them so long?
I know, it just feels like something that they would have done already.
I know.
So I was kind of surprised when they said that, but then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you know what? They haven't. Because I feel like they've mostly used the cage for non-title feuds. Like what comes to mind is
still weird that it took
Christian
them
and
5
Jack
years
Perry.
or 6 years to do it.
It comes to mind is
No, 7 because All In 2.
Didn't MJF and Cody have a cage match? Stuff like that comes to mind, non-title feuds. But yeah, no notes on Collision because I didn't get to watch Collision because the VOD hasn't been put up on HBO because of those technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Is this week's Collision going to be Lost Media?
They saved us having to watch
Sammy Guevara,
Wheeler Yuta.
But we lost Powerhouse Hobbs.
True.
Which is sad.
We did lose Powerhouse Hobbs.
We lost a certified sirloin beefsteak.
Hopefully squashing Wheeler Yuta because he's a lot.
So no notes on Collision because I didn't get to watch it. SmackDown, which I also didn't watch, but I do have some thoughts.
We're going to talk about Gabe Kidd.
Oh, I forgot to talk about Gabe Kidd, didn't I? Gabe Kidd joins the Death Riders Young Bucks sort of alliance.
Oi, bruv. Shinny Pon Ichiban, bruv. Fuck AEW, bruv. Oh, hello,
sense.
bruv. I'm in AEW now.
Well, it makes sense. Because the whole the thesis of the Death Riders is we want to change AEW for the better.
Then why are they working with the Bucks of Youth?
Because they're bad guys.
That's so dumb.
Because
That's
in all of media, bad guys just make dumb decisions sometimes.
Fucking.
You know what I mean?
I feel like the Death Riders as a gimmick, it was a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like at the time,
I also feel like it has not played out as good as it could have.
The time that they came in, people were kind of getting complacent with AW.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
but also I think we need to normalize hypocrisy as a bad guy character trait. You know what I mean? The reason they're working with the Bucks is because they're fucking hypocrites, dude.
I do agree, but I feel
it's because they're saying all of this about fixing AEW, and then really what it's about is giving themselves power. It's about Mox keeping the world title from. That's why he keeps it in a briefcase, because it's a piece of power he has. It's something he can hold away from you. You know what I mean? So the thesis on paper of this group is to reshape AEW, but the actual cause, what they're actually working for, is to keep themselves on top.
I agree with you. I think hypocrisy should be important there, but I do think that it's just because of the way it's played out. They shouldn't have been. They should have been the Bucks face turn. Because you know how I hate the Bucks EVP characters.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this just could have been the perfect time to jump back to being faces.
Mm-hmm. To try to save AEW.
Yeah, because I know that
I think
saving the company is a stupid gimmick and offer a face to remain face, but it's the Bucks. They are AEW.
I think it's a cool gimmick when you made the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why it would have been different.
If this was Masawa saving Noah, you
Which
know what I mean?
Needs to do.
Something
Come back, brother, please.
But if this was somebody who made the company, saving the company, it's a different thing.
It is. I mean? Yeah, you're right.
So it is a good gimmick in this.
Darby Allin be like, I need to save AW. Kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Bucks saving AW, it's good because they are AW.
At least Darby's an original.
Yeah,
it's
not
It's
not Samoa Joe trying to save AW.
Yeah.
Which is still cooler than Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe is our savior.
Yes, you're right. It would be like if Adam Copeland said he's saving AW.
Yeah, or if if it was Roderick Strong's mission to save AEW. Awesome wrestler, not an AEW original. You know what I mean? He was in the Diamond Mine when all this started. No, he was actually in the Undisputed Era.
Stokely Hathaway.
The Undisputed Era was still around.
He had Big Stokely over there with him.
Yeah. Stokely Hathaway should be.
Now, if Stokely Hathaway can't even see us in the AEW, I'm on his back.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm on his back. I'm climbing on top of him.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand. So, Gabe Kidd joining, I think, does make sense because in his mind.
The hypocrisy thing, yeah.
In his mind, he thinks that the Death Riders' goals for AEW is better than what AEW currently is.
But he should also hate Moxley.
The more confusing part to me is that the War Dogs kind of turned face in New Japan recently, and now he's joining up a heel faction in AEW. Does that matter to you at all?
It's because they're faces in Japan and heels in the U.S.
Okay.
It's just how they've been reactive for the past 6 months.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's still, it's the Japanese fans that have already turned on this. Mm-hmm. They've already started turning on Gabe Kidd again. So
turning against him, making
because he in Japan every promo it's New Japan's the best. Fuck the rest. Fuck you. and then he just joins the rest.
And that's my thing that's always been with Gabe Kidd. His character work, his promo work is always edgy for edgy's sake. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I think a lot of people who get to the point where we are as fans go through a phase of like not liking WWE because it's cool to not like WWE, or like, you know, back in the day not liking John Cena because it's cool to not like John Cena, right? You kind of go through phases of stuff like that.
My not like WWE was cool. Not like WWE phase was also coinciding when WWE was sucked. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, mine was earlier. I don't. Yeah, I kind of had it off and on for a little bit. I didn't have
mine was the Authority.
Was the Authority? That's
I quit watching it. I watched so much New Japan.
I'm a couple years younger than you, so that I was like, fuck yeah, fuck the Authority. I'm in.
Well, because you were.
I'm a little bit younger. I'm still
in the games. I was like, yeah, fuck the Authority. I want to be on that side. Yeah, like on TV, the Authority sucked.
Yeah, that was also before when I was a kid. And you know when you're a kid, just everything is cool.
Yeah.
Every movie is cool. It's the best movie. Like I still hadn't developed like, oh, things can be bad. Yet so
Sting brought me back in.
Sting
brought me back in. Because they didn't Sting here. Like, oh,
yeah, I was definitely really
Sting!
into that. I was really into that because that was also like that happens at the end of 2014, and that was the year that like I discovered WCW. Like, I'd always heard about WCW, and I'd seen some matches, but that was the year the network launched, so I really got to dive in. So that was the year I became a little Stinger. And then he comes back at the end to help Ziggler. But anyway, back to this, what I don't like with Gabe Kidd. It's just that his promos and his character is edgy for edgy's sake. It doesn't feel authentic. Like, MJF, early, I know he's had his rough patches, but as he was coming up and getting towards that world title picture, his edgy promos felt like way better than what Gabe Kidd has done. You know what I mean?
They did, yeah. Down the ground, but like,
it felt like there was some like not sincerity because he was still just like being a douche, right?
Right.
But it just felt like he better executed. Probably is what I'm looking at here. As I think about it, I think it's. The idea of what Gabe Kidd is going for could be good. He's just not good at executing it.
Yeah,
and
I feel like
off inauthentic.
It's because like I just watched the Giant Baba Memorial show, so I know a little bit of bias. The Westerners before time were when they said that Japan was the best place in wrestling and America sucks at wrestling right now. They meant it because the crowds there were a lot better. Like the Road Warriors. It's surprising because when they do their match in New Japan, in All Japan with Donnie Ace, they cut a promo in the back and they are just shitting on American wrestling. It's crazy. You'd think they wouldn't do that. But it feels authentic. Whereas right now, with Gabe, it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the feeling of authenticity. It's about how he executes. There is a way for him to make this feel like to be into something I like. He's just not there yet.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, he's the good version of And Then the Bell Rings because And Then the Bell Rings and I'm in. Like, he's an awesome in-ring wrestler.
I think I said this multiple times. I hate the Anakin Arena build. I hate it. It's terrible. It's everything I hate at AEW. It's just not my thing.
You hate which? What would you say?
The build to Anakin Arena.
Okay, yeah.
The match is going to be the best match of the year. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's
I
going to be
guarantee
insane.
it.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
Matt and Nick Jackson and Gabe Kidd are the good.
Yeah, they're the same. What Gabe is to me, the Young Bucks are to you. It's like you hate them, and then the bell rings, and you're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're in. So now let's move on. Is that everything on Dynamite that you had?
Yeah, that's all I had.
I liked Mike Bailey and Kazuchika Okada just brawling out of the arena. Bailey just eliminating Okada.
I also like Bailey. It does kind of suck that the next selfie I'm taking with him is going to be in the stands taking a picture of his entrance. But it's whatever.
Yep. Back to SmackDown now. We have to start with JC Mateo. Thoughts?
I don't know where the fuck the Mateo comes from.
I don't know.
I know Jeff Cobb, Jeff Cobb, yeah.
Yeah.
Where does the Mateo come from?
This is very like WWE name. This is a name that somebody would make up. the WWE.
Do you remember that fake name list?
Oh, of course I do. The one that was just Derek in all caps. Of course I remember that. I remember that one specifically. I know there were other funny ones
I'm
too.
still waiting for Derek to debut.
Yeah.
This feels like it was on that list.
Yeah, I feel like JC Mateo would have been on that list. A fake. That was when the like Osiris Griffin and like those names all leaked, and then somebody made a fake one. I don't like the name JC Mateo. I love Jeff Cobb though, so we'll see where this goes.
I mean, I'm here for Jeff Cobb and Jacob Patu in a match. Like, dude, give me that. Feed it, inject it into my vein directly. Actually,
that would be an awesome.
It is extremely funny that they don't let Jeff Cobb use his real name, but in NXT, Saquon Sugars does not use his ring name. He uses his actual name.
Interesting.
He was Lucky Ali in DPW.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Alexa Bliss qualifies for Money in the Bank. I like that pick. It'll be fun. She'll do something interesting. And then Fraxium defeat DIY in, from what all accounts, was a pretty great match.
Good match, yeah.
I didn't get to watch
Unfortunately, a lot of SmackDown sucks.
But the tag division
is really good, and I only have Julia, so I will unfortunately be forced myself to watch.
Tag division is popping over there. We'll get to that later. On Raw, which I did watch, let's start. Thoughts on the Jey Uso, Logan Paul, Gunther situation? You know,
what have they done to my boy?
You know, there's a saying on a podcast I listen to called The Masked Man Show. And that is, if you listen close enough, WWE will tell you what they're going to do. And this week on Raw, Seth Rollins, talking to Logan Paul, said that, you know, Braun Breaker was going to rough up Jey Uso a little bit so that he walks into Saturday night's main event not 100%. Logan Paul could win the championship there. And then he could get past Gunther. And then Seth Rollins is waiting on the other side, probably Money in the Bank. I wouldn't put it past him, dude, because my brain has switched recently. I've realized that Triple H books for the moment. He doesn't book for the storyline.
Where the fuck did Triple H go? This is not Triple H. This is Paul Levesque.
Yeah, well,
where is 2016 NXT Triple H at?
TKO has him in a vault.
He's in the WWE. He's in the WWE vault.
He's in the WWE vault.
That's why we get all the good shit gets released.
Yeah, he's in the WWE vault with Brian Pillman's gun to his head.
Please release the Brian Baba clip, please.
Because really, like, think about it. In NXT, yeah, Vince was still he still technically had to put stuff past Vince, but for the most part, he had free reign. Now he's answering to the TKO board because this is the main roster shit now. You know what I mean? This isn't just on the WWE network.
I hate this.
This is the real shit. So
hate it.
But though, he kind of books how the Attitude Era was booked. A lot of those, other than probably McMahon Austin, a lot of those stories are pretty shit week to week that lead to great moments. He's a moment merchant. That is what he is. So the moment of a YouTuber winning the world title doesn't seem like something that he wouldn't do. Like, I can't rule it out.
I would much rather have a Bad Bunny win the title.
Yeah, well, so here's what I would say, right?
If Logan Paul wins the title, Gunther should quit. I would quit.
Logan Paul wins the title. Gunther loses to Logan Paul because Braun Breaker costs him the match. Because Seth Rollins would rather face a YouTuber than face Gunther, right?
It's fair.
Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins beats Logan Paul. Logan Paul has the belt for all of 3 weeks, right? Just to say he's a former world champion so that they can put that under his name when he shows up at TKO events and a little title card pops up. You know what I mean? You can't rule it out.
Why? UFC did UFC's the 2 show in Trump every event, so.
So, I'm just putting that out there that could happen. Also, it would set up a pretty fucking banger Gunther Braun Breaker match, which would be the reward for real wrestling fans out of this storyline. And then the other reward would be Seth being on top again.
Did you see Braun Breaker calling a fan a fat ass?
Love it. That boy is Scott. They need to get a DNA test because I think he might be Scott's son.
He looks like Rick. It's the problem.
He looks like Rick? Yeah, that's true. But boy, does he act like Scott.
Yes, Rick was his father, but yeah, he went to Uncle Scott's house a little bit.
Yeah. So that's where it is. I think the logical thing would be Jey Uso winning and then losing to Gunther on Raw. That would be the smart thing wrestling-wise, if you want to be a good pro wrestling company. But WWE has shown us over and over again that they don't care about being a pro wrestling company. They care about being a company. They care about making money. They care about doing big moments, quote unquote, and that's all Cena. That's all the Cena turn was. That's all the New Day turn was. That's what Triple H books for. He books for the moment. He books for the Raw 50th anniversary top 100 moments video series that they're going to put out on YouTube. You know what I mean? That's what he's booking for. Not anything real. That being said, he put together one of my new favorite tag teams of all time this week. Penta and AJ Styles. Awesome as a tag team.
That tag team was so good.
I love the night one as a tag team matching gear. The red and white gear
They were prepared.
Something about baby faces wearing red gear on Raw and blue gear on SmackDown always gets me kind of like, this is cool. I like this. They were great. The match with Balor and McDonough was awesome until the kind of a dumb finish with El Grande Americano.
I would love a faction of the Lucha Bros and AJ
Styles.
The new club.
Yeah, does AJ Styles get a mask too?
He should have like a
one of those masks he just wears to the ring
Yeah.
and it takes off. Yeah. I like that. Roxanne Perez qualifies for Money in the Bank. I knew it would be her or Becky. I knew Natalya would take the pin, rightfully so. Are you surprised at all that Becky's not in the Money in the Bank and that Roxanne is?
No,
or
I'm not, because Becky's the heel, and they want Roxanne. Roxanne's also heel, I should say, but they want Roxanne because she's the young one. She's obviously to win the title at some point. So it's
I mean, imagine Becky will win the title again at some point.
No,
too.
she will. Yeah, it's not. She doesn't need it like Roxanne needs.
Money in the Bank is also best when there's a couple of vets in there because it makes it interesting. It's like, oh, this person's trying to regain the title versus these people trying to establish themselves. So, Rhea Ripley qualifies for Money in the Bank in a match that was very, very good, and then the whole match kind of got thrown off by Zoe Stark's injury.
Yeah,
which sucks because, dude. Poor Zoe Stark, man. She comes back from injury. She has a huge injury not too long ago, right? She comes back. They get the PFC thing going. And then, boom, both of her stablemates are released. And she's kind of left as, doing
a weird right censor gimmick on Twitter.
But she's just, kind of a man without a country kind of thing. She doesn't... Yeah, she's kind of just left high and dry because her stablemates get released, and then this happens in a Money in the Bank, which she was never going to win this match, but it's at least a kind of big spot to be qualifying for Money in the Bank, kind of to be put in that spotlight. So it sucks for Zoe Stark. I hope she gets better, soon, and we can get her back on TV. I've always been a big fan of her back to NXT. I've always just really liked her, in-ring work, and so. But Rhea qualifies. I like that. I like Rhea as one of the people trying to get back on top with the Money in the Bank.
Yep.
I could see her winning so that they can make it Mommy in the Bank or whatever, and then sell T-shirts,
sell replica briefcases
for $10,000 each. Prediction time. We got 2 shows to predict here. Which one do you want to? We'll predict them in order of when they'll happen. So we'll start with Saturday night's main event. We have 4 matches announced for the show, so you have 4 points max on your confidence points here. Starting with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest one-on-one in a cage. This is supposed to be the blow-off of their feud.
Feud I haven't watched. I would say Damian Priest.
Say Priest?
Yeah.
How many points?
1.
I went with Drew for 2.
Can I give these all ones?
I mean, you can, but you'd probably lose. I went with Drew for 2. CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, what should be the main event, but won't be. I went with Seth and Braun. Who are you going with and how many points? Seth and Braun?
Yeah, Seth and Braun.
How many points?
4.
4. I also went 4. The main event, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the heavyweight title.
Jey Uso, so I can still watch WWE. Because if Logan wins it, I'm probably not going to be watching WWE.
How many points?
2.
This, I went Logan, but I only put 1 point. I'm not confident it'll happen, but I picked it because I think it could happen, and it would be a good way for me to get points and you to not get points. Playing the game here, you know what I mean? And then John Cena versus R-Truth for the WWE title. I went Cena for 3. I imagine you're going Cena, and 3 is what you have left.
Cena for 3, yeah.
All right. We'll see how that goes. Next up, we have Double or Nothing. 7 matches announced. I imagine we get a few more announced this week. First up here, we have Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness versus FTR.
FTR.
All right. 7 is your max here, by the way.
5.
5? Okay. I also went FTR for 5. Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet in a stretcher match. New stipulation for AEW. I don't think they've ever ran a stretcher match. I don't know what's happening right now in Shane. His heart's telling him Mark Briscoe, but his brain's telling him Ricochet, and he's trying to decide which to go with.
You're exactly right. Ricochet by way of Mark Briscoe doing it to himself.
Okay. How many points?
1.
1. I went with Ricochet for 4. Hurt Syndicate versus the Sons of Texas for the AEW Tag Team titles.
Syndicate for 10. For 7.
I also went Hurt Syndicate for 7. Tony Storm versus Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's title.
Tony 6.
I also went Tony 6. We're just negating each other on a bunch of these. Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter, Women's Owen Hart Cup final.
Jamie for 2.
Jamie for 2. I went with Moné for 3. By the way, you have 3 and 4 left. Adam Page versus Will Ospreay for the Men's Owen Hart Cup final.
Hangman 4.
I definitely think whoever wins this should win the world title. I went with Hangman for 1 because I just really have no idea. This is one of those where I'm not trying to do anything tricky with my 1. I just really legitimately have no idea who's going to win. I'm very 50-50. I ended up leaning Hangman 1 point. Team Swerve versus Team Mox. Who is on each team is yet to be announced. But Team Swerve versus Team Mox, Anarchy in the Arena. Who you going with?
Dude, everybody wins. I win.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah.
This is tough because I think we know. I think nobody's going to announce, but I think we know who the teams are.
We know who the teams can be. We just don't really know exactly the
we know
combinations.
We know Team Mox.
Well, see, the thing is, we don't know how many people it's going to be.
I think 7-on-7 is what I saw.
It's 7-on-7 seems right, but it's usually 5-on-5, so you never know.
Why not have 7-on? Who cares? Who gives a fuck? Have somebody bring out the skewers again. I'll be there.
Dude, when Pinta put those skewers in John Moxley's Stadium Stampede, insane. That's one of my favorite images in wrestling. The way those skewers were out of his head.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So who are you going with? Team Mox, Team Swerve.
Oh God, it's the first hurdle for the faces, so I'm gonna go Team Mox.
Okay, and you got 3 points on that?
Yeah.
All right, I went with Mox for 2.
It's the first hurdle. I don't think they're gonna overtake him here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any preview here of Saturday night's main event or Double or Nothing? What do you like? What do you not like?
Again, I've talked about it before, but again, Anarchy Arena's build sucked. The match is going to be great. I guarantee it.
I already mentioned my problems with where we are in the tag division with AEW. Love Briscoe and Ricochet. They've been doing great stuff.
You notice that Mark's gotten a little more hair as the feud's gone on? Yeah.
I like that. How have you felt about the Owen Hart Cup tournaments as a whole?
They've been all right.
It was a little weird scheduling-wise, I think.
Yeah.
We had a long gap here. Well, because of two things that work kind of in conjunction. We had a long gap between the semifinals and finals, but yet we had weeks where the quarterfinal and the semifinal from the same tournament were happening on the same night. So they could have stretched it out and planned it scheduling-wise a bit more, but wrestling-wise, they've both been pretty good. I've liked them both a lot wrestling-wise. What matches, Saturday night's main event match that you're most excited for, and Double or Nothing match you're most excited for?
Double or Nothing in Green Arena.
Okay.
Saturday night's main event, I am looking forward to when it goes off air.
I mean, Punk, Sammy, Seth, Braun.
Yeah,
is the
obviously,
one there.
clearly.
And then for me, I think it's Paige Ospreay for double. I think I'm more excited for that than Anarchy. Anarchy will be great, and I'll love both of these a lot. But it's two of my guys, Ospreay and Hangman.
I just thought Anarchy's going to have some crazy spot where they do something crazy. There's going to be a lot of blood. It'll be great.
Yeah. Darby Allin coffin drops from Mount Everest all the way to Anarchy in the arena.
The coffin drops through the ground and goes through the mat, the other going up.
Yeah, so those are our predictions.
I wouldn't put it past them.
No, I want to tape up the light tubes, take the door off its hinges. It's time for Shane's GCW corner.
You listen to the rest of this podcast, but we'll drop what you're doing after that. Go watch the Sunday GCW show. Jonathan Gresham wrestled a hardcore match, and he was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
That is all.
All right. Anything else happened this week?
Yeah, Ruckus had a title shot. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
He lost, obviously. Effie kept it going. They announced a dog collar match between Joey Janela and Atticus Cogar at the King Style 4.
Nice.
Atticus has finalized a stable, actually. The Mr. Danger versus the Cogar Brothers match on Saturday had a crooked ref who was actually Atticus's cousin, because apparently he just has a lot of those guys. He's pull off out of his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Sunday, the last big thing before we get to announcements, KJ Orso spoke his mind.
Did he? And how did that go?
He was talking his mind, and then he realized that somebody's in the crowd. His childhood best friend, AK-47 from KBW, the trampoline wrestling that he started in. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
And AK is disappointed in him. And KJ Orso beats the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
What a dick. What an asshole.
Yeah. How are you feeling about KJ Orso?
I'm loving it, honestly. This show has been pretty fun.
Did you see he said he pitched this to Tony Khan a few years ago, and Tony decided not to do it?
I'm not surprised because he was down the totem pole.
This would have been an awesome Ring of Honor angle.
It would have, yeah.
If Tony cared about Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it would have been a great Ring of Honor angle. He would have been a top star Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's legitimately probably gonna get a title shot now in DCW. Hell, I think he's gonna face Sam Stackhouse in Arkansas, a little closer to Oklahoma City than it is in here.
Mm-hmm.
Title shot at KC.
Kansas City? That's what I was about to say. That'd be awesome. FE KJ? That'd be great.
Some announcements.
Anything else been announced for Kansas City?
Not yet, because we're still waiting on that stuff. I guess Effie, Kitty Orso, Blue Starks, Atticus Cogar have been announced.
Mm-hmm.
That's new. Mance, Joey are probably going to be there as well. Jordan Oliver and Alec Price are probably going to defend the tag titles. Maybe against Premier would be really funny, honestly. Nothing really yet. The Mortons are coming to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Which, why the fuck not?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we're just looking forward to the Saturday, June 7th and Sunday, June 8th. I think after that, there's going to be some,
because that's the next, big show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the next big weekend. So then after that, we'll kind of start seeing where things are unfolding from there. All right. Is that all?
That's all I got.
All right. On to our favorite things of the week. This, of course, is where I hand out the gold, silver, and bronze hot dog. Shane hands out the gold, silver, and bronze handshake. Shane, let's start off. What's the bronze handshake this week?
Mao El Despy.
Who?
Mao El Despy.
Oh, Mal versus El Despy. Okay. For my bronze, I'm going AJ and Penta versus Balor and JD. What's your silver?
Jonathan Gresham in the hardcore match. So Jonathan Gresham and Jimmy Lloyd.
Oh, it was against Jimmy Lloyd?
Yeah.
That's cool. Mine was Hangman and Ospreay versus Takeshi and Alexander. What's your gold? What's the best thing you saw this week?
I guess really quick, honorable mention goes to Jun Saito and Rei Saito having so much aura.
I saw Rei Saito won the champion carnival.
He did.
Yep.
He's going to face his brother in June. I'm cautious about it, I guess. I like it as a tag team, but singles, they haven't really been on me.
Yeah, little brother versus brother action, though.
It's always fun,
famously never goes poorly.
Famously. Ooh, this is a tough one.
It is good stuff on AEW, good stuff in New Japan.
I'm going to give it
couple good things in WWE.
This is just a random one. I'm going to give it to the 6-man that Mao and Taguchi were in.
Okay.
Because there's a spot where Taguchi's been wrestling his ass out past couple of matches. I don't know if you saw this.
I have not seen this.
But his ass is out.
The hell has been this Best of Super Juniors tour?
I don't know. His ass is out. And they do a spot. They do a spring. They do a leapfrog and do under, and then Mao they do the Effie spot. Where you know how Effie gets on his knees, and like the dick suck. Yeah, they do that spot, but it's on accident, and they both just stand there for like 30 squat there for like 30 seconds, while El Despi and Show or Yo wrestle right next to him.
That's all right. My gold was Mox and Joe in the cage. A lot less weird than your gold. On to the lightning round. This is where I tell you the matches we're getting this week. You give me on a scale of 1 to 10 how excited you are to see them. On Dynamite, we got Mina Shirakawa versus Julia Hart. Very Shane Core match.
Nate.
John Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Swerve Strickland, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe.
Let's go with 7.
Okay. Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, this is on SmackDown now. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Aleister Black versus LA Knight, Money in the Bank qualifier. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good one. I'll give it a 6.
Zelina Vega versus Charlotte versus Julia, Money in the Bank qualifier.
An 8.
Kind of sucks that we won't have Julia and Zelina in the Money in the Bank. I kind of would like to see both of them in there. And then Street Profits versus Fraxium for the tag team titles.
A 9.
That might be a 10 for me.
That's going to be a great match, though.
Collision, the only match we have announced, the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong.
Oh, they're so good, aren't they? Yeah, I'll give it a 9.
That's my title under 10 of the week. I would give that fucking a million. Like, I'm so excited for that. On Raw, Akira Tozawa versus Rusev. Dude, if this was like 12 years ago.
This was 12 years ago, and in Dragon Gate, this would be a 10. A 6.
New Day versus War Raiders versus Creed Brothers for the World Tag Team titles.
A 7.
7? So what's your 10 of the week if you had to give 1 10?
It'd be from Dean 2.
It'd be what?
It'd be from Dean 2.
Yeah.
I want to read you the matches from Dean 2. See what you give.
Okay.
The Cybernetico with so far announced that I know of Gringo Loco, Dr. Cerebro, Hologram, and the Beast Mortos.
Yeah, so any match involving Beast Mortos and Hologram gets at least an 8 from me.
And add on Gringo Loco.
Gringo Loco, yeah. So probably a 9 for that.
Lee Moriarty versus Matt Mako for the Pure title.
I don't know who this Matt Mako guy is, but I'm interested. I'll give it like a 6, probably.
Rhino versus one called Manders.
10.
And then Mad Dog Connolly versus Adam Priest in a dog collar match.
Sounds awesome. I'll give it like a... I don't know these guys real well. I'll go like a 7.5.
You would love Mad Dog.
Yeah. So is your 10 Rhino and
yes,
Manders?
It is.
That's your title, 110 of the week. Match recommendation of the week. It is Double or Nothing weekend, so I'm going to throw it back here as far as you can with Double or Nothing. I'm going to go Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes, Double or Nothing 2019. We've reviewed this match on the original version of this podcast. I think we both very easily gave it a 5. It's just an incredible match, so go check that out. Easily the best match of Dustin's career. Is this the best match of Cody's career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Classic reviews. If you want to listen to more of us, we have a bunch of them. World War III 97 is the one that last came out. Like I said with last week's episode, our Saturday night's main event episode also got lost. Shane mentioned.
Thankfully.
No, that was listen, bad show, but that was a great episode.
We had a lot of
jolly
fun
good time.
watching it.
So the next one that will be out, there won't be one out this week, but next week, SummerSlam 94 is our next one, celebrating Owen Hart. But we also have other ones you can go listen to. You know, we have AEW, we have New Japan, Ring of Honor, we've done All In. We have more WCW, we have ECW. You want to listen to some Sabu reviews? We did EW 99.
Go find the. We'll review another 7 match at some point. I'll get you the FW show. I guarantee it.
Yeah, we got. We've done Noah shows. We've gone all over the place. WXW, CZW, even getting into the Indies. So
You've hit AAA.
We've hit AAA. Yep. So go check those out, and just remember to enjoy wrestling.